Will there be another yellow? Will rain get in the way? Stewart lined up third. Edwards fifth. 37 laps to go to decide the championship in the Ford 400 win. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski lead the field to the restart. Stewart to the bottom, 3 wide for the race lead.
3 wide, you're at bottom, still 3 wide.
Maybe 4 as the 99 comes down the back straightaway here.
Kyle Busch and Keselowski not giving in. Stewart by Busch. Here's Edwards trying to keep pace.
Oh, that's close. Man.
Look at Stewart drive that car in.
Wow.
Stewart by Keselowski to the lead.
That's 4 fresh tires working right there.
Edwards racing the 2 for second and trying to keep up. Big wiggle there on the 99. He's going to drop back in. Last night, Edwards and Keselowski raced for the win in the Nationwide Series. Keselowski admitted he did some blocking in the last laps. He was racing Edwards for the win in that one.
They've had some history together, but lately they've been racing each other pretty clean. But I would say that Keselowski is going to race him hard.
Check the points, top of the screen. Stewart by 1. Edwards has to pass Keselowski for second to tie, but Stewart has the tiebreaker. Edwards needs to pass Stewart on the racetrack to win the championship.
Yeah, that's just plain and simple. That's as simple as it gets. He knows what his job is right now. First, he's got to find a way around Brad Keselowski.
How bold has Tony Stewart been on these restarts tonight?
Yeah, and I'm sure that Kyle Busch probably knew it was coming, but still couldn't stop him.
I think you go all the way back to Chicago, where he made one of his comments under caution about these restarts and how crazy they were. He said, okay, I'm going to start doing it too. I'm going to be just as crazy as everybody else. Been working for him.
Yeah, very well. Here comes Edwards.
Got to run, looking for second place. Look at the hands inside that 99 car, fighting for control into the corner.
All clear. Go get the 14 now.
Edwards to second. But he's got to track down Stewart. Remember, the tiebreaker belongs to Tony. Keselowski's not done with this yet.
Don't think he's got anything for him. It's down to these 2 to settle it. Winner take all.
And in this situation, you see Tony Stewart, if he gets this win, we heard the fans say that they wanted winning to mean more. There's no win would ever mean more than this one right here for Tony Stewart.
Still a long way to go. Just under 50 miles left in this race on this 1.5 mile track. First and second, the top 2. With some weather threatening out there on the radar. Will there be another caution back in the pack?
Right now, Tony Stewart's beating Carl Edwards a 10th or so, 10th and a half.
Well, neither one are holding back. They know they have enough fuel, so they're giving it everything they have right now. Carl Edwards has been really strong at the end of these runs, though.
You know, you remember back at Kansas a few years ago, Carl Edwards making that big dive bomb on Jimmy Johnson. It ain't over till it's over.
That's right. May take that here tonight.
Well, earlier this week in the press conference here on Thursday, Tony Stewart said he'd wreck his mother for a championship. Carl Edwards said, I'll race him like he races me, and at least I know where I stand. So if Carl can catch him, who knows?
Well, Carl ran a faster lap last lap.
But they are the 2 fastest cars on the track. That may seem obvious being out first and second, but there's nobody behind them that's close to what they're running. Speaking of close, Carl Edwards was close to the wall right there.
Got to let it all go, right? He knows he's got to be ahead of Stewart.
There is no tomorrow. This is it.
Stewart knows he's got to keep Edwards behind him. Look at that smoke boiling from behind that 99 car.
Well, he's up in a danger zone right there.
If he can get away with it, he can clean the track off and maybe find a little grip up there.
Man, look how close Carl Edwards is.
Moving around the racetrack, hunting for any place his car might have a little more grip and find that distance closed on Stewart.
Now, Stewart was a little bit quicker on that lap. I think Carl might have got a little closer than he needs to be up to the wall right there.
Gave a little more respect that lap.
There it is.
Back at your shoot him.
It's a live interval you see between the two. See Carl closes it up through the middle of the corner.
Yeah, and this is really about as high as we've seen Tony Stewart. He had been given the wall a lane and a half most of the night. He's up there much closer than what we've seen him, but it's translating into speed for him right now. Fastest once again.
Just by hundredths of a second of a car.
Steady hands on the wheel of that 14 car through that set of corners.
I can imagine the kind of focus and intensity it takes to race like they're racing right now, Dale.
It's just incredible. I mean, the two best drivers in the series right now, able to take these conditions, the pressures that go along with it, and get the most out of the car right now. It's just incredible. It's intense in there, but this is what these two drivers do and do it well.
The gap growing fractionally, now shrinking fractionally.
Yeah, Edwards beating by 2 100ths that time.
Is it easier, Dale, to be in Carl's position right now or Tony's?
It's always tough to lead out there. You like that idea of being out front and controlling things. And if you got a good car and Tony is confident as he can be in his car right now, then you think that you can apply pressure and make that guy in second make a mistake trying to catch you.
Just thinking back earlier in the race when they kind of warned Carl Edwards to take it a little easy on his right front at that time of the race. Well, he can't take it easy now.
Nope, he's got to give it all he's got and hope that thing rolls out.
I really think that we probably got enough rubber down. That last shower didn't do anything to hurt the racetrack in that respect. So I think that you're seeing everything that Carl Edwards has in this Ford right now.
Stewart's team told him they were good to the finish on fuel. Edwards' team has told him that as well. The laps run under the caution for the rain, helping out both parties.
Yeah, almost a tenth of a second difference in the lap times that last time. You can see that Tony's able to turn his car down to get a little straighter shot off the corner. That's translating into a little speed for him.
Tony Stewart said we've had to fight and fight to get every point we can in this championship. I think that makes it more gratifying. Also said we've got everything to gain, nothing to lose, and in this last race that makes us dangerous.
Yes, and he's left it all on the track today and tonight. It's incredible the amount of, just the intensity and the performance I've seen from Tony Stewart personally as a driver. I mean, the car's there. Definitely, they're doing a good job with that, but Tony Stewart has been incredible tonight.
See that gap between the two staying pretty steady right now. It's only 100th or 200ths of a difference between these two each and every lap.
Again, perspective. Edwards must pass Stewart to win the championship. If Stewart stays in front of him, Tony's the champ on the tiebreaker. Most wins.
You can see up there the points are tied right now. It's just plain and simple.
And nobody on the track is faster than these two cars.
Lap after lap. Every
lap.
one of these laps, they've been the top two.
And Brad Keselowski is already 4 seconds back in third to the leader, Tony Stewart.
Oh, look at Stewart drive the thing off the corner. You could see his hands really moving as he was chasing the back end that lap.
Stewart has been so loose, so seemingly easygoing in the week leading up to this race.
You see the two crew chiefs up there. Nothing they can do right now. Only thing they can do at this point is plan for that caution that may come out and have a good strategy for what they're going to do. Otherwise, they just watch these drivers do what they do.
And again, that strategy complicated by the fact that there's 27 cars on the lead lap. And those other 26 want to win.
They're trying to pick it up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they want to win. They just don't have anything for these two right now.
Well, just talk if the caution comes out, you see some strategy and that kind of thing, But without question, the class of the field this fall have been Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards.
Yeah, they've gone about getting here a little bit differently. Carl Edwards extremely consistent, but consistently good. Not a finish below 11th place in the first 9 races. Not going to have that here tonight. It doesn't look like either. Tony Stewart, a little different approach. 1-4 so far. Could be on the way to the 5th. Winning those races you can make up for a bad race or 2 along the way. You can see tied into points right now.
There's another streak that's on the line. Hendrick Motorsports and their engines and chassis have won the last 6 championships, or last 5 championships. If Tony wins tonight, it'll be 6 in a row for Hendrick Motorsports. They're the ones that provide the cars and engines for Tony Stewart.
Started to talk about opposite personalities before. Tony Stewart, what you see is what you get. If he's not happy, he'll tell you. He wants to drive race cars. He wants to drive them fast. He wants to win races, and really could probably care less about all the other trappings of the business. Carl Edwards really good at some of those other trappings, the media, the interviews, the sponsor obligations, and so on. Carl has shown his edge at times, both behind the wheel and to his competitors.
But yeah, that's one thing Carl likes. He likes that part of the sport. Or like Tony Stewart, he did, like I said, he could care less about that. He just wants to race.
Yeah, and he's had to do more of that now, being an owner. So trying to win this championship for himself, but being an owner of this team hasn't happened since Alan Kulwicki in 1992. So I think that means a lot to him here. But this is Tony Stewart, the race driver, getting it done in his element right now.
Tony Stewart with 11 driving titles in various forms of racing. A 2-time NASCAR Sprint Cup champ, looking to join that very elite club of 3-time champions if he can run out these final 16 laps. And again, that's a long time. Good 15 minutes or so if we stay under green.
Yeah, one little mistake by Tony, and he's going to give a championship away. And that, just to me, that's a lot of pressure on a driver. I know you guys can handle it, but that just seems like a ton of pressure.
That's what makes these two so good. You know, we've seen them running right there at the wall. Not a slip. You know, I think Carl Edwards would tell you his car is as good as he could make it right now. .5 seconds between first and second. Stewart edging away ever so slightly. The final laps of the 2011 season, and a tremendous fight for the championship between Tony Stewart driving that 14 car and Carl Edwards in the 99. It's come down to the two of them running first and second in this race. Whichever driver wins the race will be the champion. Stewart coming back from as far as 40th in the race earlier today with damage to the nose of his car. Each time he got back to the front of the pack, something set him back. Problems on pit road. Then they chose a different strategy that set him back, but a timely caution regained him his spot toward the front of the field. He's driven like a man possessed on restarts to get back to the point. And now, despite Edwards' best efforts, Edwards having led the most laps in this race tonight, he finds himself that far behind his rival for the title in the final laps. He's got to find a way. He needs a caution.
89 to a 94, but I know you're doing all you can here, but we need that position, buddy.
Yeah, they know that. And, you know, one thing I'll throw out here is we heard Bob Osborne say that Carl was good on fuel by 2 laps, but he hasn't had to run this car as hard as he's run this run. And I'm not positive that he can make this.
How about even Tony Stewart? And I know that pretty sure that they have estimated this and calculated it right. But this is hard. Either one of them have driven tonight and trying to make all of this happen. So you're not sure. There are no gas gauges in there. You're not going to know until it sputters.
Now, they've made their calculations based on what they've done throughout the race. But this run right here, they have run extremely hard.
While you watch this fight for the lead, Brad Keselowski makes a late pit stop in the 2.
Edwards has been a little bit quicker. He picked up almost 2/10 that last lap. You can see the interval was cut down a little bit.
But the laps are running out. Leaders beginning to encounter some lap traffic.
You can see how dynamic that gap is just as they run through the corner. Carl beat him a little bit through one part of the track. Tony will kind of win out on the other side.
As hard as we've seen Tony at times carry the car off in the corner making passes, this, while he's out front, he's been rolling out of the throttle. You can see Carl gain a little bit of time.
10 laps left.
Really hard in the gas on the exit, carrying a lot of speed down the straightaway.
Championship that I feel a lot of folks are going to remember for years is going between two of the best and being one of the best fights for the title. They're running first and second in the last race of the season. Winner is the champion. Whoever finishes second in the race loses out. Can't beat that.
I've never seen anything like it in my career, and I've done this a long time.
9 laps to go. Edwards trying to edge in. He trimmed a little bit more off Stewart's lead that time. He's got to do better because he's got to catch him and then find a way around him.
You can hear he had to lift just a little bit right there, right at the exit of the corner. He was so close to the wall.
And that's a bad place to have to lift because it costs you all that momentum down the straightaway. Could be an advantage for Stewart, but you can see that gap is now down to less than a second.
Lap cars ahead of Stewart in the lane where he and Carl have been running, that outside lane of the racetrack.
Yeah, you have to think that they know what's going on here. They're going to give way, move to the inside.
The spotters are going to be talking to everybody on the roof. The other spotters are trying to get these other cars out of the way so these two can race it out.
Yeah, has Tony run this car too hard being out front? Are his tires going to give up some here?
Another couple of hundredths of a second off that lead as they come to the lap traffic.
We don't see these cars moving out of the way.
I don't quite understand the thinking here.
Andy Lally in the 71. 38 car of Travis Quapple. Stewart to their inside.
Tony's made his car work down there. I know that's not where he wanted to be right now. They're giving him plenty of room.
That's actually Mike Bliss in the 71. And he's racing for something, too. They're trying to get in the top 35 in points. I understand that, but you got to give these guys more room.
Now Carl has to deal with the traffic.
Yeah, the one thing that can do is you have to change what you've been doing. It can upset your rhythm just a little bit. Now, it didn't take long. It was basically just one and a half corners. See if Tony can get that rhythm back and pull back away. Now Carl's got him running side by side. This is the worst possible position.
Yeah, that might be what kills any chance he has to get up there.
Yeah, that had to break some momentum, but you can see he's still within a second.
Now the gap growing again.
You know what Carl is wanting is he could just get to the rear bump.
5 laps left, 5.
And try to force something here.
Well, it's going to take a mistake by Tony Stewart at this point in time. He's driving this thing on the edge this entire day.
I'm watching the Carl Edwards rotors are glowing red. He's just working every pedal in that car. When the corner last lap, you could see the left front rotor was glowing. See it there.
Oh, yeah. This isn't a place that you normally use a lot of brake, but Carl Edwards doing everything he possibly can to run Tony Stewart down.
Stewart adding to his lead, but more lap traffic ahead.
See that yellow
with the yellow stripe signaling the leaders coming up behind you. A warning flag to the driver, not a mandatory move over flag, but a warning flag. Dave Blaney gives way. So far, the late yellow has not come.
Well, there's one driver that's hoping it doesn't, and another one that hopes it gets that opportunity.
You see the flagman now really waving that flag at these other competitors to let these two race it out.
Montoya, Jeff Bodine yielding to the race leader. And Edwards running out of time.
I'll tell you, this has been one incredible drive in this chase by Tony Stewart. On his way to a 5th win out of 10 races. And that was only good enough to tie in points as it sits right now.
That's
but
just how good
wins.
Edwards has been.
Yes.
2 laps to go, 2.
3 miles left to go. Tony Stewart seeking his 3rd championship. Rallying back tonight from as far as 40th position. Kind of had the what me worry attitude earlier in the race.
Yeah, what an incredible job by the crew to repair that, Andy. That's not an easy place to make a change and fix a repair.
Yeah, they've overcome a lot tonight. On pit road, they had a mistake, or actually a problem with a pit socket. They had a hole in the grill. But Tony Stewart
White flag here, white flag. Bring it home.
Final lap. Stewart and Edwards, first and second. Winner takes the championship.
It's just the most incredible run I've ever seen out of a race car driver, what Tony Stewart has done in this chase and tonight.
Yeah, I think it's the best driving I've ever seen, and Carl Edwards did an incredible job too, but this is the man right here, Tony Stewart.
2002, he was the champion. 2005, he was the champion, those driving for someone else. This time, he's an owner driver, and he's become a three-time NASCAR Sprint Cup champion. Tony Stewart wins it.
So we got it.
We got it. We got the tiebreaker, baby. Awesome job.
Derek.
You guys are all.
For the ages tonight in South Florida. They went toe-to-toe for the championship. It ended up you had to win the race to win the title. Tony Stewart did just that.
Been around this sport a long time. That was the most incredible championship run I think I've ever seen by two drivers.
And what a turnaround in the season. He didn't win a race in the regular season and came into this chase and won 5 races, won half of the races in the chase.
Said in August, his team would just be taking up space in the championship. They weren't running well enough to contend for the title. But when it started 10 weeks ago, they won the first 2. They won 5 of the 10.
I'll tell you, Tony Stewart beat a great competitor right there. Carl Edwards gave it all.
He had everything that he had there at the end. And the entire chase, never finishing worse than 11th in a race for 10 races.
A tie on points. The tiebreaker decides the championship. The tiebreaker is most wins.
Fans wanted it to be about wins. Tony Stewart went out and gave them exactly what they were looking for. Just an incredible run.
Did I make it exciting enough?
You made it exciting enough for us, Vince.
A tearful Darian Grubb holding his son Gavin here celebrating the victory. Darian, you told me earlier today that nothing has changed in your team. You've just gotten the brakes to go your way in the chase. Tonight, you made your brakes. You repaired the car. You fought back from different challenges. You gambled on fuel. How did you guys do it tonight?
We just fought. This entire Office Depot Mobil 1 team is incredible. We just didn't give up. We kept fighting. We went out and earned this championship and showed we're true champions.
Darian, you've been through a lot of adversity. What's this championship mean to you?
It means the world, but my family means a lot more to have him here with me.
Congratulations.
Darian Grubb from Floyd, Virginia. Came to be known to most of us when Chad Knaus was suspended during a Daytona Speed Weeks a few years ago. Darian, the team engineer, was Jimmy Johnson's fill-in crew chief at the time, and they won the Daytona 500.
Actually won a couple. He proved his mettle in that backup role, and boy, tonight he really shined. Took some huge gambles too. I mean, that fuel mileage gamble was big, and it really, ended up paying off for him.
It was risky.
It was very risky, but it actually is what got him the track position.
And for Carl Edwards, he led the most laps tonight. He came up one spot short and loses the championship on a tiebreaker. Jamie?
I imagine there's a lot of people around this country who agree with Dale Jarrett that was one of the most exciting championship races we've ever seen. What's going through your mind right now is all I can ask you after that effort.
Let me thank my sponsors first. Aflac, Ford, Kellogg's, Subway, Scott, Sprint, all the fans. But this night is about Tony Stewart. Those guys rose to the occasion. They beat us fair and square. That is all I had at the end. My guys did a really good job. I mean, we came here, we sat on the pole, we led the most laps, and Tony still managed, him and Darian to do a good job with their strategy, come out in front of us, and that's it. That's all I got at the end. That's as hard as I can drive. So I told my wife, if I can't win this thing, I'm going to be the best loser NASCAR's ever had. So I'm going to try really hard to keep my head up and know that we'll just go next year, and we're going to be just as hard to beat next year, just as hard the year after that. But I just hope everybody's proud of the way we performed and our effort. I appreciate everyone's support, all the folks that helped me get to this position. And I wish so bad we had that trophy, but it just wasn't meant to be tonight.
Carl, you've had to drive that hard multiple times in your career, but for 40 laps, looking at the target ahead of you. What was that like from the cockpit?
I mean, it was good because I could see what Tony was doing, and I mean, I tried all sorts of stuff, and I mean, that's as hard as I can drive that race car, and that's it. So, I said before this thing started, I'm going to give my best performance, and I'm going to be happy with that. I'm not quite happy with it, but this is what we got. We'll make the most of it, and I can tell you one thing. If we're in this position again next year, those guys better watch out, because that was a lot of work to stay calm and to stay focused and perform the best we can. I learned a ton.
And the patience. Great job. Valiant effort by Carl Edwards. Brings it home second in the points.
Reacting to Carl Edwards' thoughts, a valiant effort, but he has to be heartbroken.
Yeah, and it'll hit even more tomorrow and in weeks to come. But he's, just as he said, he did everything he possibly could. He just, unfortunately, ran into a buzzsaw with Tony Stewart and this race team and winning 5 races. Who thought it was going to happen?
Tony Stewart provides us our Goodyear winning moment. 5 wins in the 10 races in this chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. The tiebreaker was wins on the season, and that was the difference between Stewart and Edwards after these 10 races.
And if that's not an emphasis on winning, I don't know what is.
Exactly right. And particularly over the last 3 weeks, these two raced for the lead, raced for the win in these races. Just tremendous.
Yeah, neither one of them ever finishing worse than 3rd in these last 3 weeks.
Yep.
It's the first time in the history of the sport we've had a tie for the championship in points.
Tony Stewart tonight, Carl Edwards talking about giving it all he had. Tony Stewart passed 76 cars in this race tonight.
He certainly earned it, didn't he?
Every time he got to the front, he got shuffled to the back. Tremendous gesture there by Carl Edwards.
That's a true champion right there.
Well, it's over tonight here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and truly a classic championship fight resulted in a truly classic championship finale where you had to win the race to win the title. Tony Stewart did it. Making his way to a familiar sight along the front stretch of this racetrack where twice before he celebrated winning a championship. Eddie Jarvis, Tony's longtime business manager.
They have a great relationship. It was the two of them that put this deal, made it happen, put it together, really took a chance in moving away from Joe Gibbs Racing to go start and make this race team work.
And you see the scene in Victory Lane presented by Napa. As the liquids begin to fly. And what a scene it is in the middle of that whole championship crowd.
Tony Stewart just beat a guy that has the best average finish anybody's ever had in the chase, 4.9. He beat Carl Edwards.
It's Ryan Newman, Tony's teammate and employee, if you will, at Stewart Haas Racing. And not to forget Gene Haas, who, having fielded a NASCAR Sprint Cup team for several years, needed something to take it to the next level. He offered Tony Stewart a 50% partnership in the team.
Got a good deal.
They're champions.
Yeah, Rick Hendrick had a lot to do with making all of this happen, getting the two parties together, helping make everything work, assuring Tony that he would get a tremendous amount of support with his race team from Hendrick Motorsports.
Look at that scene. So much fun. And you heard these fans roar their approval. Everybody waiting while Tony Stewart gathers his thoughts and gets ready to go. And the most disappointed, the people who came up just short, talking it over, Bob Osborne and Carl Edwards.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just get beat, and that's all that these guys can say. We gave it everything. Carl said he gave it everything. He has a driver. They had a great race car. The engine performed flawlessly. Just sometimes somebody else is a little bit better.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2011 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion, Tony Stewart. Wow, what a performance tonight. And what better way, Tony, for the closest chase in NASCAR Sprint Cup history to finish. Tony, two of NASCAR's heavyweights. Tony Gibson coming over. Two of NASCAR's heavyweights going toe-to-toe, head-to-head, the final laps, and you won it in the championship. What's the emotion right now?
Oh, God, thank the Lord for this one, buddy. Man, I'm telling you, it's been a tough summer and a tough fall for us, and you got to believe in something. And the man upstairs, and he held this rain off just long enough for us to get this job done. So, this is for Sprint and all these fans up here that stuck it out all weekend here in Homestead. And, oh, my God. I don't care how long it rains. I'm going to be up all night. This is, oh, my God. Are you kidding me? For Office Depot, for Mobile One, Chevrolet, U.S. Army, Tornadoes, Quicken Loans, GoDaddy, Ritz, Oreos, Coca-Cola. Just everybody that's a part of the Stewart Haas program. Mac Tools, we couldn't do it without you guys. It's just unbelievable. I mean, we said all week we just go out and win the race. We didn't have to worry about what he did, and that's what we did. And just if this doesn't go down as one of the greatest championship battles in history, I don't know what will.
Let's talk about tonight. In the first 100 laps, Tony, you had to go from back to front twice. 3 and 4 wide passes on the restarts as Jeff Gordon comes up to congratulate him. And then the gamble on fuel. How concerned were you that maybe there were just too many obstacles to overcome after all you were having to battle tonight?
This team, there's one thing I learned when Gene Haas and Joe Custer gave us this opportunity, and our good buddy Rick Hendrick, and I couldn't do it without you, Bud, and everybody at Hendrick Engines and Chassis. There's no quit here. And Darian Grubb, that man up there, and everybody on this team has just dug deep and never given up. And this is an awesome night. Eddie Jarvis, Brett Food, everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing. I've got the best team in the business, and it's just awesome. I'm so grateful to be able to do this for Gene Haas, because this man's invested a lot in this sport, and for him to have the faith in me to do this, just it takes a lot to do what he's done, and I'm glad I can get this done for him.
Talk about people that have meant a lot to the sport. That number 14 belonged to your hero and friend, A.J. Foyt. He said you can take the number but drive it with the tenacity of a Texan. Tonight, you won a championship the way he won them, up on that wheel, refusing to lose. What does it mean to you to take this number, his number, back to a championship stage?
I guarantee I'll probably talk to him tonight, and he's still going to tell me what I did wrong today, but I'm so proud. I mean, A.J.'s always been one of my heroes, and he's been very supportive of this when we did this. And when I asked him if it would be all right if I took his number, he was the one that gave me his blessing, and that meant the world to me.
Carl Edwards, a class individual. What a battle! What a battle those final. What's going through your mind when you're seeing Carl back there, knowing that he's just going to do everything he can, and what a great effort he's had all year long to try to catch you, and you had to win the race to win the championship.
Those guys have done an awesome job all year, and my buddy Ricky Stenhouse won the nationwide championship yesterday, and Jack got the owner's championship, so I didn't feel bad taking this one away from him tonight. But he's a great competitor, he's a great guy, and we've been giving him a rough time this week, but it was all in an effort to do what we did tonight here, and that's to win this championship. But it shows how classy a guy he is. He was the first one to me over there, and he just said, promise me one thing, that you'll enjoy this. And he goes, I hope it's you and I in this position again next year. So it just shows how much class he's got. He's a great guy.
Both of you showing so much class. And Tony, guess what? In just a moment, we're going to climb up on that stage. You're going to get a big trophy and even a bigger check as NASCAR's newest Sprint Cup champion. Alan?
And they won't mind the raindrops one bit. Tony Stewart, three-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion after winning the season's final race. The trophy presentation is next.